Oh, someone who you said the flag, and it reminded me that the teenager was trick or treating at our house, and I think she was dressed as Chapel Roan. I'm not sure, but she saw our pride flag and was like, "You're flying the flag of my people." It's awesome. You get extra candy. Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast where we talk music through the lens of our favorite artists' discographies. I'm Troy Sennett.
And I'm Matt Kistler.
And today we are finishing up our first series of episodes on the band Thursday. We're talking about their final so far, No Devolution. This came out on April 12th, 2011, on Epitaph, same as their previous record, Common Existence. This is like it's interesting to kind of look at how their career led to this record, and how like they kind of I don't know. I feel like this is a band that sort of sabotaged themselves at the end of each record cycle. And we'll talk a little bit about how they got to the process of making this record. But first, what was your experience with this, Matt? Do you remember like your first time hearing it, or kind of the lead up to this album?
Yeah, I do remember kind of the lead up to this album. Although I think the biggest impact of this album cycle for me was getting this album in April of 2011, and then going to see Thursday for what I thought was maybe going to be the last time in December of 2011. But yeah, this is yet another record I had on pre-order because I was gonna be on board for anything Thursday did. We had in the lead up, Magnets Caught in a Metal Heart came out as a single, had a video, an interesting video that we'll talk about later. I wasn't super hot on that song, but I thought it was at least interesting. So I was excited to see kind of what came through. But like life wise, I had like just graduated college the year before, so I was kind of in that weird ethereal space where you went to a liberal arts school and didn't maybe necessarily gain professional skills there, through no one at the college's fault, mostly my own. I was, working retail, just kind of figuring my life out and stuff. So in a lot of ways, this album should have hit a lot harder than I think it did for me at the time. And we'll kind of talk about that as things go on here. But I did like this album a lot when it came out. I think I was a little surprised by what I got, and as we do on this pod, we'll kind of talk about the differences between then and now. But I think you'll find that I am a lot hotter on it now than I was back then. What about you? Where were you at in 2011 in the lead up to this album?
Yeah, I think I had something kind of similar. It was my freshman year of college. I had kind of not that I had like stopped listening to Thursday, but they were not a band that was like as hot on my radar at the time. I had gotten a lot more into like punk, and I don't even know. I'm trying to remember what I was listening to. I discovered Bandcamp that year and was listening to a lot of like
Nice.
artists who gave away their records for free on Bandcamp, because it was a little bit harder to pirate music on our terrible like college dorm internet.
Fair.
I don't know if it was it must have been when the whole album was out that I heard it, because I don't really remember listening to the singles or like the lead up to this album at all. That just kind of wasn't on my radar at the time. But I remember, kind of like you said, thinking the album was a very cool swing. Sounded really unlike anything they had done before, and I remember just loving Turnpike Divides.
Oh yeah,
that one. Yeah, that. And we'll talk a lot about that song when we get to it, but like that was the one that kind of hooked me back in. I was like, oh, okay, I need to buy this album, and so I bought the CD. I wasn't really buying vinyl yet, but I remember opening the CD up in like the lounge of my dorm, But I was looking back at my 2011 end of the year list, and this did not make the list, even as an honorable mention, although it's a much better record than a lot of things that did. So, slightly embarrassing oversight there. But yeah, I think I just I was listening to a lot more punk and pop punk at the time, and folk probably by that point, and Thursday just kind of wasn't. I liked this record. I thought it was cool that it existed, and then by the end of the year, they had broken up. And yeah, I that probably should have made this album have a little more weight to me then, but I guess it didn't. Looking back at my my blog from then.
Yeah, I kind of feel exactly the same way. Like I could save this for later, but basically, like I remember this show really distinctly. The farewell tour. They played the Bottom Lounge, which even at the time seemed way too small for them. Maylene and the Sons of Disaster opened, which was a wild pull, especially for this album touring cycle. Because I think when they announced the tour, I don't remember if it was like billed as a final tour when they announced it or not. I think it might have been.
I think it was.
Okay. But yeah, that seemed like a wild pull. But it was. I'm not a like get up on the barricade or whatever type of guy, but I was pressed against the edge of the Bottom Lounge stage for Thursday's entire set at that show. So like that really did have the weight of saying goodbye to one of my favorite bands. And then like later on I would have almost the same experience with Thrice, but at the Metro, so there was not getting that close there. But yeah, I think that was where I was like, oh shit, like this is weird. This is a really weird experience to have. But they closed with Turnpike at that show, and I think I was a little miffed by that at the time, but in retrospect, I'm like, oh no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean that song is kind of the the calling card, the anthem of this era of the band, I think, and maybe the band as a whole. So it makes sense that they would close their farewell tour with that.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of in the talking about sort of how they got to this record, after Common Existence is when they do that just like the Taste of Chaos tour with Bring Me the Horizon, which is just like a horrible experience on all fronts, which I think we talked about a little bit in the last episode.
Yeah.
And I think they did the usual thing where they kind of sort of broke up, or decided they were going to cancel a bunch of touring and see if the band was still going to work.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah, like I said, the thing that they do after basically every album, and but they start writing again, and Jeff talks a lot about this in that interview with AV Club, and basically they booked studio time with Dave Fridman, again, same producer who they worked with previously on City by Light Divided and on Common Existence, and they didn't have the record done, like written, and they so they go into this, they go to cancel their studio time, and Dave Fridman was like, no, you guys aren't canceling, you're coming in, and we're gonna make this record together.
What a move. I had not read this interview prior to like preparing for this, and I was like, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, and it speaks a lot to their relationship, because I mean, whether it's just like I don't know, I'm a producer and I need the money from this recording session, or it's like I'm more likely, I think it's, I really believe that you're a band that can be successful if we work together in the studio. But I think it speaks a lot to the relationship they've built up with him over the past couple albums, that he was like, no, I know that we can make a great record together if you guys just get in here and do it. And they talk about writing a little more spontaneously, and I think kind of trying a lot of different ideas, and that they might have rejected before if they had taken too long to write, or go, drag stuff out over weeks or months of writing. And I think this album feels like a different side of them, probably because of that. I think they're less concerned on this record about how the songs are going to go over live, and how, like, if the label will like it or if the fans will like it. I think this, in a way, it's sort of the purest distillation of their tastes as musicians, I would guess.
Yep. Yeah, because I feel like they talk, in previous episodes, we'd kind of talked about how often they put forth, like, yeah, kind of in retrospect, we really felt the weight of expectation on this record for this reason, this record for this reason. And like Common Existence was maybe the first one where they didn't quite have that, but this is like a degree even further removed from that, because they also removed like kind of the element of perfectionism that had kind of followed them the entire time leading up to this. And like not even like in terms of like meeting fan expectations or whatever. That's kind of whatever. Jeff talks in that interview a lot about their desire to subvert people's expectations. And I think that's very, very apparent on this album, because like overall, I didn't think it at the time, but like listening back, I'm like, yeah, no, this is a Thursday record in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where that turn happened for me, but like it truly does sound like, and like maybe this is the influence of like reading that interview, but it really does sound like an album that they just kind of sat down and they were like, okay, this is what we want to do. Go.
Yeah. and I like they talk, it's sort of two different opposing ideas. The idea of like, we're going to try to subvert expectations, but then also he talks about like, we're not going to define ourselves in terms of what other people think we should be, or the opposite of what we were before or whatever. So like you end up like, those ideas are sort of fighting with each other, because if you're always trying to subvert expectations, you are sort of defining yourself in terms of what other people think of you.
Yeah.
And so trying to shed both of those ideas and just make like the thing that's meaningful to yourself is, I can imagine that was like freeing in making this album. And like it sort of comes across in the mixing too, because once again, Dave Fridman mixed this record. People think, shockingly, that this record sounds bad. I think this is actually the best sounding Thursday record in terms of a mix.
I think I'd agree with you on that. I understand why people feel the way they do, sort of.
Yeah, like it doesn't sound like We're All the Time, sure.
No.
But it also it is a little bit less like crushed than City by the Light Divided is in terms of the mix and master. But I liked the quote that like in that interview where Jeff says that like, you know, it's that Dave Fridman's production is like, it's an essential part of the songs, and that like he could have made us sound like Muse if that's what we wanted, but like that's not what this record is supposed to sound like. But I think that it's because it's a little bit cleaner, it's a little more synth driven. It ends up not feeling as like oppressive as City and Common Existence do in terms of just like a listening experience.
Yeah, and like I think the places where they lean into that like kind of crunchy, really crushed sound is really effective as a result.
Yep, I don't think
everything
Turnpike
feels really
Divides
is
the song that it is if the whole record sounds like that. And like the Into the Blinding Light is that it's the most extreme version of it on City by the Light Divided, but like because all of City by the Light Divided kind of sounds like that, like Into the Blinding Light has to go even further, whereas like it feels like Turnpike and Open Quotes are kind of the two that I think are where the heaviness comes through in a way that is like it's just more effective because it's contrast to what most of the album sounds like.
Yeah, when you're, I don't want to say lowest lows, but like your quietest quiet parts are when you were this dynamic on an album. That's an easier way to say it. It is a lot easier to make things stand out by just kind of pushing it a little bit more, rather than, to your point, like having to go extra hard because you've been going hard the entire time, you know, whether it be by mixing or by the way you play.
Yeah, that's kind of like advice for like mixing a record too, is that like if you just keep turning everything up, like whenever you feel like you can't hear something, if you just keep turning stuff up, like that doesn't make it sound good. You have to like turn other stuff down, and you have to like find the contrast and the balance there, instead of just like, okay, I can't hear this, I'm gonna turn it up. Well, now I can't hear the other thing, I gotta turn that up. And like obviously like these are pros and they're good at this stuff, and that's why this record sounds very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the parts that people probably latch onto as the things they don't think sound good, like, you know, by traditional metrics, I think those are some of the coolest parts. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it probably has to do with the vocals, like the placement of the vocals in the mix, and like as usual on a Thursday record, but I think even more so here, like there's a lot of Jeff singing over parts that are very heavy or that other bands would scream over. That kind of balance of chaos with like ethereal beauty that I think is sort of the one of the defining characteristics of their music, really going all the way back to Full Collapse. But I mean that's all over this record, and I think they kind of like really nailed the balance here.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that one. It's a triumph in a lot of ways, and I think I really do think that the kind of nature of the writing on this album really lent itself to that, like the lack of second guessing, kind of relying on what they are best at, and like, you know, just combining that with the fact that they're all very good songwriters. Like Jeff talks in that AV Club interview about how he would basically go from like finishing writing the lyrics into the control room to sing,
Yeah.
which is insane to me, but also works out so well in this album's favor.
Yeah, definitely. There's really not much, like there's no B-sides to this record. There's no demos that have been released. There's really nothing but the album when you're talking about this era of the band.
Yep.
Which is quite different from the last couple albums that we've talked about. So we can probably just jump right in.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. So this record starts with Fast to the End, which is like every Thursday opening track, I think a really cool, gripping opener. I was about to say that it's just like At This Velocity, but At This Velocity was not an opening track.
Right,
But it is
yeah.
another song about a plane crash, or maybe a plane crash. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I think this works really well as an opener. I don't think it would fit anyplace else on the album, and I think it like really the kind of the thing you talked earlier about Jeff kind of leaning into just singing over like pretty aggressive instrumentals is like just what we get right out the gate here. The kind of disparity between those two with like some minimal yelling at certain points in the song, like really does a good job of setting the tone for the album, even though like I don't know if I'd say there's any other song on the album quite like this one. Like there's a couple that have like elements of it. But I wouldn't consider it like necessarily a like overview of what the album's going to sound like, but like between this song and what follows it, No Answers, I feel like that's a pretty good like overview of like this is a large chunk of what you're going to get just in, you know, in different forms. And like I don't mean that to like be disparaging in a like, oh, it sounds samey way, because that's patently not true, but it does, like, it feels like it's like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Like we are ushering in a new era, or the last era, depending on how you look at it, of this band, and this is kind of setting the tone for what you're going to hear for these next, well, at that point, 10 more songs. So I think it's also it's fun that the song Fast to the End is a really fast track. Like the drums are just like really pummeling, and the bass like gallops and stuff. Love consistency between the title of an album, its lyrics, the title of a song, its lyrics, and its instrumental qualities.
Yeah, and I think another like, I totally agree that it's a good sort of thesis statement for the album. And also just in terms of like, they talk about using the studio as an instrument and using the mix to like, you know, get across the atmosphere of the songs. This is such a great headphones record, which all Thursday albums are, but this one feels especially like, just listening to the I hesitate to call it a guitar solo, but the guitar sounds in the bridge of this song that like ping pong across the stereo field, and there's like No Answers has cool stuff like this too. Really, every song has like very cool use of the stereo field, and like that is, I don't know, I embarrassing listen to a lot of music on my HomePod because it's just what's in my office while I'm working.
Sure.
But I try to make a point to listen to everything that we're covering like on headphones at least once, and this was a really, really good headphones listen.
Yeah, I would agree heavily on that. And it really it is an album that, you know, like most headphones records, rewards close listening, because I hear like this is maybe to the point that we talked about leading up to this. This is maybe the Thursday album I've listened to the least, not only by merit of it being the last one, but like, you know, I wasn't as hot on it back in the day. But like, despite that, like, I've still listened to it a bunch over the last 13 years. And I find something new every single time I listen to it. Like, it's usually something small, but like, it's blows my mind every single time. We'll talk about one of those things in Sparks Against the Sun that I like had a moment about listening to it yesterday. But yeah, I think it's an incredible opener, and I should have loved it more when it came out.
Yeah, they like in this like this is one of the songs that has sort of persisted in the live show post reunion. They in again citing that AV Club interview. Jeff talks about like, you know, he says like, I think we're gonna be playing this record for a long time, except that they really weren't.
That was a very disappointing last thing to read in that article from 2011.
Yeah. Like they played No Answers at the show, the reunion show at Riot Fest in 2016, or the Double Door like Riot Fest after show in 2016. The best Thursday show I've ever been to, or probably ever will go to. But it was
a good one. I can't deny you that.
Yeah, and so I mean, so like Turnpike Divides is like a setlist staple. But so they played No Answers a little bit, but besides those two, I think Fast to the End is kind of the song that they choose to kind of represent, one of the songs they choose to represent this record with. Still, and it makes sense. Like I said, it's kind of like a thesis statement. But yeah, we should go on to No Answers. A very different sounding song, even from Fast to the End.
It's so this is when I think about this album, if I have to summon a song to mind, like this is the one that comes to mind, mostly because of that really, really great synth sound right at the beginning.
It's amazing.
It's so good. The synths on this song in particular are so nice. Like that, obviously the solo at the beginning, which is like, calling it a solo is pretty much a name only. It's because it's the only instrument playing. It's not doing anything crazy, but like it introduces that like main melody that like you hear throughout the song, and just the tonal quality of that sound is just so good. I want it. That's a sound I want to recreate on my little mini log that I haven't done yet.
Do you, as the sort of resident synth nerd of our podcast, do you know like what synths Andrew was using on this, or have any sense of like what where those sounds came from?
I do not. I'm assuming this is off of like a yeah, no, I have no idea. This is a great point of shame to me, is that like I should have dove into the synths that are featured on this album, but I did not. I will figure it out someday though.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like
good sounds.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like behind the scenes like, studio videos or anything from this album either. To see like, what they were using in the studio and stuff like that. But it is just a spectacular keyboard sound, especially on this song.
Yeah. I also really like the snare sound on this song. That like just kind of like deep snare that sounds like it's about like, I don't know, probably like 14 by like 11 or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how snare drums work, despite playing drums for most of my life. But I do really like what Tucker got on this one. But yeah, literally a note that I have here is just like really pretty.
Yeah,
which kind of does sum up my feelings on this song pretty nicely.
Yeah. I think it's the other thing to kind of talk about with the song is Jeff talks about this record as like as an album about devotion.
Yes.
But every song kind of plays with that concept, and I think this song being sort of about trying to maintain a friendship with someone that you used to have a relationship with, I think is like a kind of the first really big dive into that concept on the album, which does kind of recur throughout the record. But lyrically, I think it's a pretty vivid, interesting song.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think it's cool that we get that was not something that I like necessarily gleaned on early listens to this album, was the like kind of angle of it being about devotion. And Jeff talks about this in that interview, where I think he says something along the lines of it's like writing about water when you're in the desert instead of writing about sand. Because it is a record about devotion, but it's a record about the ways in which that can go wrong, and even like not even the ways in which it can go wrong, just its consequences more generically.
Right.
Which I find really I love that image of writing about water in a desert instead of writing about sand, because it's not interesting. But yeah, I think this is like I said, I feel like Fast to the End and this song really like kind of set the tone for everything that comes after it, and like No Answer specifically is a song that really stands out on this record for me. And even before I was neck deep in learning how synths work, I still don't know how synths work. I just want to be very clear about that to everybody listening. Don't ask me about square waves. Well, okay, you can ask me about a square wave, but that's about it. Go watch a Mark Doty video. You'll be fine. Anyway.
Yeah. From there, next up is A Darker Forest. The song has a kind of that funny anecdote around it where it's like very clearly a song inspired by The Cure.
Yep.
And Jeff talks about showing the song to a friend who they were like, "Oh, it's A Darker Forest, like it's The Cure, the forest song of Forest by The Cure, but darker," and which is kind of an amusing way that the connection to make. I'm not much of a Cure person. I don't actually know that song, but I do like this one a lot.
This one is very good. A Forest is also very good. You should listen to it. But also, just moment of pause here for everybody listening when this comes out. We are recording this the day before the new Cure album drops, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I
several hours before, actually.
Yeah, I need to do some. Maybe we should add them to our list of bands to cover in the future, because
our list that is going to consume most of the rest of our natural lives at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. No, that sounds great. I've never done a deep dive on them. I've always enjoyed smatterings of The Cure, but have never really like done a full discography run through. So that could be very fun.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so this song, I'm gonna probably say this about every song. This song really stands out in that there's no cymbals for like the first like 2 minutes of this song or something like that. I think all the verses are just like that kind of like steady snare.
Yeah,
and like that's kind of it. Like I have the word subdued written out very long in my notes until the end, and even then, like it doesn't really like. It doesn't go hog wild, which I think like really speaks to what we were talking about earlier with the like dynamicism of this album, because like it really does build to something at the end, but it doesn't have to be on like it doesn't have to be wild and crazy for it to feel really effective against the rest of the song, or even like the disparity between the verses and the choruses. Yeah, I just think the song is neat.
Yeah, the restraint is used really well there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a song like, I don't know if it's not like Winky that clever, but like, I don't know, this idea that kind of no matter what choices you make, they all kind of end up the same, which is a real kind of dark, not a particularly nice thing to think about. But it's, I don't know, it's bleak in a different way than a lot of the more like literal, like this is a song about a very specific tragedy in my life writing that Jeff has done before.
Yeah, totally. And I do, as a person who doesn't really care for that one Robert Frost poem, I do love a good play on it. So
two roads diverged in the woods, and they were actually the same road.
They were actually the same fucking road, and they both sucked shit.
Yep.
As I believe the thesis of this song. Jeff mostly like basically says that at some point. and it's pretty explicit in the text of the song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I do like looking at it in that way does kind of make the bleakness of it a little more bearable because it's almost funny.
Right.
So that's why I choose to do that.
Yeah. So from there, Sparks Against the Sun. You said you had something specific about this song.
Yeah, so there's okay, let me just read to you my notes in order. Piano, 2 exclamation marks, all caps. There is so much going on in this song. With an arrow, specifically because of that one guitar thing after the synth, which was the thing that I noticed on this listen through, was that there's I think it's in the choruses. There's like a little synth line that happens. It's like kind of a fast arpeggio thing, and it might happen multiple times, but I only noticed it one time. There's just a little guitar lick that comes out from that synth line, and it's just so cool. Because it's like, it was one of those things where I'm like, I've never noticed this before. Where has this been this whole time? But the other notes are, it is huge in all caps. And then, counting in the bridge, nice little reference, which we'll talk about more when we get to the bridge. But yeah, I think this song rules. I don't want to say it was never a standout for me, but early on it was not a standout for me. But now I'm like, man, this song bangs. Like, this is one of the biggest songs on the album. There's a million things going on, but it never feels overwhelming necessarily. It just feels like, I don't want to say stadium rock huge, but like, it feels like U2 huge in a way, which I realize is like maybe a bad comparison to draw, but I feel like that sense of like filling all of a very large space is like kind of inherent in that particular brand of music, and I think they pull it off really well here.
Yeah, no, I actually think U2 is like a pretty apt comparison. I mean, I think explicitly they've gone for that sound on like Running from the Rain, but I don't know. There's Stadium Rock gets used disparagingly a lot as like as an insult, but like I think U2 is awesome. And I think one of the reasons that they're awesome is that they're able to take these very personal, emotional like moments and project them onto songs that are like just enormous in terms of like production, in terms of arrangement, and in terms of like performance. Like and I think that Thursday is doing a similar thing, maybe on certainly on a smaller scale in terms of the size of their bands, but like I think that and this, a lot of this album, this song in particular, I think kind of nails that like that sense of like, I don't know, like I said, kind of projecting like a very personal, emotional moment onto like a huge canvas. And I think the U2 comparison is like perfect for this song especially.
Yeah, that's fair, and I think I feel like that sense of hugeness is reflected really well in the lyrics too, because like the kind of hook of this song is, in the light of day will disappear just like little sparks against the sun, which is like such a vivid image to conjure, especially in a song that sounds this mammoth, gargantuan, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah. Well, and I think it plays into sort of, I based on the bridge particularly, I assume this is a song about addiction, with the sort of 12-step program reference, but like I think it uses the enormity of the image of the sun against like a little spark as like of what it is like to try to battle that those addictions.
Yeah, I think that's, I'd say, apt.
Yeah.
But outside of the context of the steps, I do love a Thursday putting counting in a song moment, because I feel like Jeff does that really well, and it could easily be really cheesy, and it never is.
Yeah. All right, on to open quotes.
Yeah.
This is the one where it's like, oh, they let Dave Fridman get like really aggressive with the production again, and I guess in the arrangement of the song too. Like this is the one that feels like everybody gets to let loose on.
Yes, 100%. I really I do love that with that in mind, that there is just a big old scream right at the beginning of it.
Oh yeah.
Which is sick.
there's the super compressed drums, the like over distorted guitars, like everything it feels like Common Existence again, but like just just atmospheric enough to fit on this album.
Yeah, totally. It's yeah, it's one of those, this almost could not belong here, but it absolutely does, and we'll talk more about another song that maybe does that in the opposite direction a little later on.
Yeah, but like you need a moment like this to almost to like shock you back into like, oh yeah, this is a Thursday record that I'm listening to.
Yeah, totally. And I think that kind of continues a little bit on Past and Future Ruins, but like this is a like distilled version of that. I also really love the like kind of shift when Jeff sings Let It Go and it like kind of slips into halftime. Like, I'm a sucker for word painting, even though I'm not sure that's exactly what that's doing. It feels like it's what they're doing, and that's what's important.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that. They do that on Common Existence quite a bit. Actually, quite a bit more, I think, on that album than they do here.
Yeah,
but it's a trick they like to use.
Yeah, and damned if I don't get it every time.
I don't have a ton more on this song. It's a pretty solid like middle of the album rocker, I think.
Yeah, I think it is a little it's a little dwarfed by what is before and after, which is a trend in Thursday songs sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, so then after it is Past and Future Ruins. This one was sort of a single. They put it out on a split single with Under Oath.
Yep. I bought this 7-inch at their joint tour in 2011.
Oh, cool.
Before I knew they were breaking up. Before anyone knew they were breaking up, to be clear. But yeah, it's like a 7-inch picture disc. It has an Under Oath song I can't remember the name of on one side and this on the other.
Yeah, I've never like really gotten into that era of Under Oath, so I don't know off the top of my head.
It's probably fine.
Yeah,
they were good. I enjoyed watching them.
Huge fan of that band when I was in high school, and just kind of fell off of them after that.
I don't know if we're ever going to talk about Under Oath, so I just want to say this here. I remember the reason that I checked out They're Only Chasing Safety is because I read the alternative press issue where they reviewed it, and I think the first sentence was, and I don't think I knew anything about Grade at the time either, but the like opening sentence was, "Hey, remember when Grade was good? This is that." And I was like, "All right, sure, I'll check that out."
I don't know if maybe I don't know Grade well enough, but that is not an accurate description of that album.
I don't think so. I don't really know what they were going for on that one, but it's fine. It hooked me. A bold statement like that, I was like, all right, I'll check it out.
But yeah, this is kind of another song that uses like the heaviness, the intensity of the arrangement and the production really well.
Yeah.
This is like kind of an unstructured song, just kind of straight through story. Lot of cool stuff going on musically in this song.
Yeah, I mean there's a full minute before you hear most of the instruments.
Yeah,
which I think is super freaking cool. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like that really stands out to me when it's like, oh wow, we're really getting loosey goosey on this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs on this record that I don't have like super specific thoughts on. Just like, yeah, I really like what they're doing here.
Yeah. I love that we get an appearance of Jeff's United Nations vocals on this song.
Yep.
That this is the most like borderline black metal screams that we get. We get glockenspiel on this song, which I absolutely love. I also wrote piano and e-piano in this economy, which I thought was very funny earlier today, and now I don't think it's that funny anymore. But it was like, yeah, I think this song just it again plays on that dynamicism that this whole album plays on. But like I think it kind of goes to both extremes in a way that most other songs on this record don't, and I think that's part of why it's so noteworthy.
Yeah, for sure. It just like occurred to me that we have not like mentioned United Nations at all on this this series of episodes.
Yeah, Yeah, despite that being one of the many shows that we were both at but didn't realize because we didn't
Right.
know each other yet.
I think in my head I thought that United Nations didn't really pick up until after Thursday had kind of called it quits. But now I guess that first album comes out even before Common Existence.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was 2007 or 2008.
2008.
Okay, yeah, because it was one of those between album cycles. They weren't really like that was when they were incredibly secretive though about who was in the band. The only like
Yeah.
known quantity was Jeff is in this band and Daryl Palumbo is involved to some extent.
Yeah. And then I guess it's not really until then they did the Nevermind the Bombings EP, and then I guess next 4 years is after Thursday is on, like actually on hiatus.
Yeah, and that was when the band became like a touring act and like had a consistent lineup because it was Jeff, some of the people from Pianos,
RX Bandits,
members of
maybe.
RX Bandits, killer band. It is kind of sad that we haven't talked about them yet, but yeah, that I feel like most of that band's like limelight time was during the aftermath of Thursday, so that's fair.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Back to the album. Magnets Caught in a Metal Heart. This was the single from this album. This song is really, really catchy.
It is very catchy.
The chorus of this was in my head a lot over the past week.
Yeah, I feel that. This is one of those songs where I'm like, this must be really fun to play. I'm surprised they don't play it more often, but it also might just maybe not work as well live as it does as a studio track. I'm curious how much they have played this song. Let me take a look.
I think that they just don't have they don't leave themselves enough room in their set list to really give any attention to these last couple albums.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jeff just said in an interview the other day at When We Were Young Fest that like that's probably the last time they're going to do Full Collapse as an album.
Yeah.
So I mean, fingers crossed, as they always are, for like set lists that are a little bit heavier on the newer stuff. But yeah, like I feel like this song would go over well live. It certainly would for me, but I guess they know their fan base better than I do, and their fan base, or at least the ones who pay to come to the shows, seem to want to hear the first couple albums.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see what kind of this next touring cycle looks like for them, because like they're loosed from we'll talk about this more later, but like given that they're doing Waiting later this year, given that Jeff at least has said explicitly like we're probably not going to do Full Collapse in full again. I'll be interested to see what the next batch of set lists looks like, because I feel like the tour that they did where they played in Joliet that I didn't feel up to driving out to the day of, and I kind of regret it. It was a relatively diverse set list, like still pretty Full Collapse and We're All the Time heavy, but like I would have loved to have heard Application for Release from the Dream live, and they played a couple of like latter career songs that I thought was cool. So I feel like we're gonna trend towards that over time.
Yeah, hopefully.
But anyway, yeah, they did play this one at the 2011 show. I'm checking to see if they played it at the reunion show at the Double Door. I don't think they did. No, they didn't. They just played No Answers and Turnpike at that one from this record. But anyway, yeah. This song is fun. The video is odd. Like just the band running through a literal paper town.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool aesthetic. I
think it's cool. It's one of those things that like clearly took a lot of work, but like also looks a little bit like raggedy because it's literally made out of paper. I kind of love it.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's hard to make a music video that like I think that like is sort of narrative, and so I like when bands just like pick a cool aesthetic and lean into it for a video. This is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else on this one?
No. I mean, it's I think it's a really well executed song. I think it's incredibly catchy. It will be stuck in my head for the next couple of weeks, I imagine.
Yeah.
But then we take a weird turn. Not a weird turn, but a maybe surprising turn. the first time you hear it.
Yeah, so Empty Glass is certainly the quietest song on the record. Really kind of heart-wrenching song, a song about, I think it's, pretty literal, about selling his wedding ring to buy drugs.
Yeah.
And yeah, just kind of that, the way that a marriage or relationship can break down, and then you can kind of throw away those, the kind of the tokens of devotion for, a high or whatever it is. And that we'll trade all our memories for forgetting is kind of a pretty haunting line.
God, that's
um
it's such a, like, just reading it out loud, it's like it doesn't it feels almost obvious as a way of phrasing that, but it's such a powerful way of putting it, because it just implies such a conscious choice of like, no, I do not want to remember this. I like this significant portion of my life that presumably had a lot of happiness. Like I am going to forget it, and I'm going to force myself to forget it through various means.
yeah, and it's another like moment when they use the production to set the scene really well. This was one where I think Jeff talked about how, like, people complain that the vocals are too low in the mix on this record, but they're like way too high in the mix on this song. But it works because it puts him even more sort of like alone, away from the band, away from the scenes that they usually set on these songs.
Yeah, I think calling this song stark would be an apt descriptor, and I think that works really well in its favor. But like, it's also so interesting that like a song like this that relies very heavily on its lyrics and vocal delivery, for its emotional weight, that it has like basically a 2-minute outro that is incredibly cool.
Yeah.
You've got all the weird vocal processing, the drums kick in, all the other instruments kick in. It leads you away from this like very bad situation sort of gently in a way, but like it's not something that you're easily gonna forget, because you'll get to the end of the song and you'll still be thinking about that last line for sure. I think it's such a neatly constructed song, and like, yeah, like just incredibly thoughtfully produced.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the more like striking songs on the record to me. I don't know if it's not my favorite, but I think it feels like indicative of what they were trying to do with this album to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So from there we go to A Gun in the First Act.
Yeah, the Chekhov's gun song.
Yeah. This is a song that Jeff kind of goes into in depth in that interview, where he talks about how it's a song about the way that symbols and metaphors can like break down as they sort of like overtake the things that they're supposed to represent, and that they kind of lose all meaning after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a much deeper analysis of it than that.
No, I think that's pretty apt, especially coming from the man himself.
Yeah. It's again, kind of similar to a lot of the sort of middle of this record. Like, these aren't songs that have like taken on like an individual identity for me a lot over the years, but I like every time I listen to them, I'm like, okay, there's something cool going on here. I really like them. But they're not like, again, I don't have like a lot of specific things to say about them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, I do love the I always forget the name of this instrument. It's not a pump organ, but it's an organ you pump air into. But the keyboard sound that starts this song, I think, is really cool, and I don't think it's used anywhere else on this record.
Yeah, it sounded just like an old church organ, basically.
Yeah, just like a lot thinner. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look it up. I'm not going to edit it into the episode or anything, but just know that I know what the instrument is. I've seen it. I'm just bad at remembering things sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I put down that like this is yet another like very huge song that does feel also very spacious somehow. Like you kind of get all the individual elements if you're not just letting yourself be washed over by the song. But yeah, I think it's really neat. And kind of the core conceit of its lyrics is a really interesting thing to me as a person who like enjoys that kind of thing, like not in a like high school English teacher kind of way, but whatever degree you can appreciate a symbol as an adult.
Yeah. It's got a good chant ending too, which is
Yes.
I think maybe the only one on this record that
I think so,
quite,
yeah.
Yeah, that has that kind of like almost gang vocal yell along moment that they're not really doing here very much.
Yeah. Cool. Then Millimeter.
Yeah, next up is
a song
Millimeter.
I don't have a lot to say about, except the one note I have is I love this bass line.
Yep, it's musically it's a very cool song. It feels like it kind of makes sense. It's sort of a deep cut. Not that I think it's inessential or inconsequential or anything, but it's like clearly like not strong enough to be a single. But it's not like I wouldn't like leave it off the record. I very much enjoy listening to it.
It's a real good song. It's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
It also comes before Turnpike, which is
right.
Which
yeah,
is
that's
the thing
is like is the next. I want to get to the last couple songs of this record. I feel like are like flagging on our analysis, but I don't have a lot to say about the song either.
There's so much to talk about with these last two songs.
Yeah,
though.
let's just jump to it. Let's just go to Turnpike Divides.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about the New Jersey song.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I think you can tell. Like, I mean, maybe I've imbued a lot into the song over the years, but like, I think that they knew this one was special when they wrote it, and they know they put it in kind of a prime, penultimate song on the record placement. But I just think this song just has like a. It feels like they're taking stock of everything that they're that they've represented as a band from New Jersey and what their hometown and means to them, and Jeff specifically, but I feel like everyone in the band probably is has similar feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most people kind of have conflicting feelings about where they grew up. Like there's always. Well, I shouldn't say always. There are a lot of people who like they were born in the right place, and that's awesome. But like I feel like most people who end up being in bands, I guess you could say, tend to have this like not even love-hate relationship, just this complicated relationship with where they're from. Because I mean, especially looking at like Jeff's life and the tragedies that have ensued to and around him, like. I can understand why you would want to get the hell out, but also recognize how important a place can be to you,
Yeah, well, he described it as like a song about going home when you don't want to go home, or like being sort of like forced to move back to a place that you wanted to escape from, or maybe did escape from for a while. But it's it pulls in a lot of Jersey references. You've got the "It's hard to sleep when you're born to run." This the Springsteen nod there.
Great Springsteen nod. I love that one personally.
Yeah. But I love this imagery of like the Holy Cross, the church cemetery has a headstone picked out for me, and all I can do is just kind of my only job is to walk around until I fall down at its feet is a really great line.
So good.
Yeah, and then like a big like production moment here when the chorus just like slams in with like the heaviest, most kind of blown out screaming that happens on the record.
Yeah.
And then it's like right to that into like this really kind of like great hook of a chorus. I don't know. It's this song is so much fun live. It's pretty easily the best song on the record, I think. Well, maybe not easily because St. Drew is coming up, but
I was gonna say I would disagree, but that's only because we haven't talked about what I think is the best song on the record yet. It is so close though. Like this song rules. I totally see why they close so many shows with it. It's even better live. Like for all the for all the props I will give to the production on this song, like especially like we kind of saw this in Past and Future Ruins too, where we've got this like ebb and flow that has like this really extreme high at the like smashed out chorus, and then like these way gentler moments. And I feel like this song ebbs and flows a little bit more than that one does. Almost as if you're driving at night on the turnpike. I don't know. I've never driven on the turnpike before, so I don't actually know. But yeah, no, I think this is such a really well executed song, and it's even better live somehow, despite all of that.
Yeah. Did you listen to are you a Shudder to Think fan, or did you listen to the Shudder to Think song that this is like very much influenced by?
That was something I meant to do today and did not do. I know I've heard that song before, but I can't quite place the reference, so I will have to go back at some point.
You're gonna have like a holy shit moment when you listen to that song, because it is like I was curious because it was in the interview. Dave Fridman talks about how both Thursday and OK Go were recording kind of around the same time, and both like referencing the same Shudder to Think song. And I need to find out which OK Go song that is.
I also need to find. Why didn't that get mentioned? Well, probably because he didn't know off the top of his head. But still,
yeah,
I find that so funny.
But the sort of the reference, I guess, or the influence is that the outro of Turnpike Divides, that kind of like sort of meandering melody that gets over like heavier and heavier music. It's kind of like the lyrics are literally about like falling in and out of sleep and in and out of a dream. And I think like I said, melodically it like captures that perfectly. That melody is basically lifted directly from that Shudder to Think song. It surprised me that they didn't give them a writing credit on it. It's so close.
Yeah, and Olivia Rodrigo style retroactive credit at some point.
Well, unfortunately, there's not like millions of dollars in that the writing credit for that song, which is probably why. But
probably.
But I mean, even if I hadn't read this interview and then gone and listened to the song, if I had just popped on the Shudder to Think record, it's that obvious to me.
Okay,
that was the point of reference. But it's this like the way that there's something about the construction of that melody, and I didn't like analyze it, sit down and like figure out the time signatures and everything, but like there's something about the way that it moves that feels like it like puts you off balance a little bit, which is, again, I think exactly what the lyrics are about as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wrote down the build at the end of this song rules, before getting that context of the Shudder to Think thing, and like even at the time I was like, it's not, but it is a build, but it's not, but it is, because like it is kind of decentering in a way, and I think that's part of what makes it so cool, even if it is a rip.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah, then after that, they get to the closing track, Stay True. If this had been the final Thursday song, it actually would have been okay. Like, it would have been okay. I will always want more music from this band, but this is if this is the one you go out on, it's pretty good.
Man, so this is something that I've only really thought about in the context of doing this podcast, which is why I'm eternally grateful that we're doing this podcast. And we've talked a lot about how specifically we talked about this during War all the time, but we've talked about it in a smattering of other contexts of songs that Thursday has done throughout their career. And I think also kind of as a blanket statement about Common Existence, but like it feels like the lyrical like aesthetic of Thursday is, what do you do when you live in a world that is trying to constantly drive you to despair, basically. Like what do you do, and how do you handle that, and how do you make it not make you a worse person? And that is what this song is. This is like the most distilled version of that I think they have ever done. This I'll say right up top, this song makes me cry literally every time now. It did not back in 2011, or probably any time between 2011 and like the mid 2010s, but like now every single time, because like I feel this song so hard in my middle part of my adult life here. But like I feel like this is the literal only note I wrote about this, because I've listened to this song more than any other song off this album in preparation for this, is this Thursday in one song? And I think the answer might be yes. Which I think is what makes it a fitting. If this was the last Thursday song, it would have been okay. We'll talk about why it's not later, and I'm again grateful for that. But alternative history here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like Jeff as a writer does not usually like I think try to offer he's not like prescriptive, like here's what you should do to like solve anything or whatever, but and maybe that's why this song is effective, because it's taking all of the like like I said, all of the despair and all of the frustration and pain that like and here it is, like here's a way to fight back against it, or at least here's like some reassurance that like you can fight back against it. It is a little bit different than like his normal way of writing, and I think it's particularly effective because it's like it's dedicated to Jeremy Bolm, who from Touche Amore, and obviously another band that like we both follow quite closely, and so those kind of connections are always cool, and like it's sort of it's a torch passing, it's an admission of like maybe I didn't do everything right, but like hopefully someone who's coming up after us can. It's a great closing track.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. It's like it is very interesting and stands out in that it is a little bit not prescriptive, but like just kind of saying like, hey, like really though, I'm asking you to do something for me here. And what I really love about the construction of the song itself, at least lyrically and in terms of like the progression of the musical elements of the song, is that the desperation ramps up every time we get to the line "Stay true." First time, it's just like kind of gentle, so please stay true. The next time it is, I'm asking you to promise me to stay true, and then the last time it's a demand, with the screamed "Stay true." And then you have that sick outro. And like, but yeah, like it's one of those songs that like clearly like is relitigating one's own mistakes, which is a tough thing to contend with. Like even though like that's definitely something that has happened in Thursday songs before, but like going the path of like, this is what I've learned from it, and I would really I would really appreciate it if you just stayed true. Is a really it's gripping for me, because like it is a tough thing to like kind of watch. We've kind of talked about this in the context of this podcast, like kind of looking back at past versions of yourself and like recognizing like the mistakes you've made, but also like kind of realizing that like there was something there, and like you want to hold on to those things. And I think that's what this song is going for, and that's a tough thing to come to grips with, is like what good things about your past self that you have lost over time.
Yeah, for sure. I have to sort of give a mild ribbing to this song because of the lyric. I don't want to talk about the old days from a band that just became kind of a nostalgia act.
Listen, this was before that.
I know,
sort of. It was around the same time as that, because that was when they did the 10-year full collapse thing. But it's fine. Okay, I'll give you that one. No,
I think this is really a wonderful closing track. There's not really any better way they could have closed this record.
Totally.
Yeah. So after this, 8 months later, they have broken up. I am sad at the time because I don't think I'm ever going to get to see this band that I've loved so much. And then in 2016, they reunite. With I think that reunion tour in 2016 is the original lineup.
It is the original lineup.
The core, not the original lineup, but the core lineup that played.
It has Steve, because if you don't have Steve, what are you doing?
Well, right, yeah. And so that's when I finally got to see them at the Riot Fest after show at Double Door that year, which was amazing. And then they've toured, a fair bit since then. They've kind of reestablished themselves as a consistent live band. Mostly, we've talked about this, to the chagrin of a certain group of their fans, me included. That they've done a lot of Full Collapse and War All the Time, album shows where like I really want to see them play other stuff.
Sure.
But they've in terms of actually like releasing new music, there has only been 2 songs they've released since then. One in 2021 was a cover of Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark,
which is delightful.
Yeah, it's delightful. I think it would be a fun curiosity, but they played it live for years.
They did. That was a little weird.
Yeah, I never liked that. I guess I'm glad that this exists, but it's not something that I go back to ever.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean that was born out of like the 2 minutes to late night pandemic shift. Where they started doing all those covers, and this was like dedicated to a friend of theirs. So I feel like its inception is very noble. It was cool to see them play it like once or twice, but yeah, I don't need it ever again.
Yeah. But then, so they continued, they've continued touring pretty regularly with a slightly modified lineup. They now have Norman Brannon from Texas Is the Reason playing guitar. They've got Stu Richardson from No Devotion playing bass. And no, they haven't toured with a keyboardist in a really, really long time.
No, they have not.
Which maybe is part of the reason why their set is, more focused on older material.
Yeah, I mean that's a difficult hole to fill if you either. I mean, I know it costs a lot of money to take an additional musician on tour, so like I get it if that's what it is. But it would also be cool to. I think if I remember correctly, on their farewell tour, I don't think Andrew was touring on that tour. I think it was the guy from Color Revolt, whose name I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But I'll have to double check that. But I'm pretty sure that Andrew was not in the touring band at that point. I don't remember what exactly transpired there.
As an outsider, his relationship with the rest of the band is just completely mysterious to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then earlier this year they released a new song called "Application for Release from the Dream," which is they did with the touring lineup. Although Tim Payne, their longtime bassist, does actually play bass on the recording.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like they've been recording a lot at like kind of when they're on tour. They'll grab a studio time for a day or two and just work on stuff. And Jeff has talked about like when they decided to start writing again, he was like, I reserve veto power to like not want to release something if it's not good. And so who knows how much they've actually recorded. I think they've confirmed that they have at least one more song to come soon, but I hope they do an album because I want another album.
Oh yeah, I would love another album. I'll take what I can get, to be clear. But yeah, that was I remember watching that interview, and I think Jeff mentions that everybody in the band has veto power. So like if Tucker goes, nope, not it, it's done. But yeah, I know they have at least one semi in the can that everybody is excited about. So yeah, I'm hoping we'll hear that sometime soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love an album. That is maybe selfish of me. And I know that's not really how music works these days. But I can dream.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool song. I guess the kind of the most notable thing about it to me is that it sounds production wise more like people I think expect Thursday to sound. Like it doesn't have, I mean, for better or worse, Dave Fridman has a very his fingerprints are all over any production he works on, and this was recorded at a handful of different studios, partially by Steve Evans, and then mixed by Stu Richardson, and it sounds, I don't conventional might be the wrong word, but like you listen to it and it's like, okay, the vocals are sitting where you expect them to sit for an emo post-hardcore song. The guitars kind of sound like you expect them to sound. Not that that's a bad thing at all. But
no, definitely not.
But it's and the response to the song was basically like rapturous from what I could tell. Like I didn't really see any Thursday fans who or much chatter that like were disappointed by this song.
No, I think I saw a couple of people who were like, I don't know about the screamed part, but like that was the worst criticism I think I saw.
Yeah, I actually really like the like kind of chant call and response thing they're doing in this.
Oh yeah,
It
I think it's
feels more
sick.
like gang vocally or more like meant for the live show than they've usually done. But I don't know. I'm very excited to see what else they're working on.
Yeah, for sure. And I mentioned this earlier, but like I would love to see this song get played live.
Oh yeah,
And
I think they've
missed
played
my
it
chance
like
early. Oh, they do. Yeah, they've played it every show. Every show that wasn't an album playthrough show this tour. So I'm sure the next time they come through town and I'm, a little closer to the venue and not feeling like crap that day, I will see them play it.
did you buy the like ludicrously priced single that they released for this?
I bought I have the 7-inch. I don't have the white sleeve
12-inch.
12-inch.
Yeah, okay.
I consider it. I
didn't end
it.
up getting any. Maybe I'll pick it up if I see them at a show where they have this. But yeah, I don't own a copy of it yet. But yeah, cool song.
Yeah, very cool song. I'm really excited to see what they have next because I feel like this sits pretty solidly between the Common Existence and No Devolution sound. Like not, obviously mixed a bit different and whatnot, but kind of overall sonically it feels like a continuation of kind of what their late career looked like, which I do like. So
Yeah. All right. I mean, that's basically where we leave Thursday. Next year they're touring with Silverstein.
Yep.
I
I will
cannot
probably go to that show.
I cannot attend it.
Fair.
Unfortunately, but or also fortunately, it's for good reasons.
Yeah, no, you are totally excused. I'm not going to make fun of you. No, I wouldn't make fun of you for missing a show in general. That would be weird. But yeah, no, legit. I have no idea if I'm actually going, but one of my friends, mutual friend of Lauren and I, always tells Lauren, I think you're making this band up. Whenever we're talking about like, some band we've been listening to for years, but like at a party a couple months ago, Silverstein came up, like this tour came up, and she was like, "Oh, I love them." I was like, "What?" So we'll probably bring Haley out to that show too.
Awesome.
So that'll be good. But yeah, excited to see what's next.
Yeah.
I hope it's soon.
Agreed. So I think we're gonna end this series of episodes on Thursday by giving our rankings of their discography.
God,
because we have to.
I hate this list. I hate this list so much.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I don't care. I can go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna preface this really heavily by saying, if you're on this episode, you probably listened to the whole thing, and you think you all understand that Troy and I both celebrate the whole catalog. But the only ranking I feel good about is waiting at number 6 on my list, and that's only because like it's a debut album. Like they were figuring stuff out. Like there could have been a situation where it had been more fully baked when it came out, but like it's fine. It's a good album with good songs. And then all the next 5 are like maybe 0.001% of the way off from each other, and I could probably change this order completely and still feel bad but okay about it. Okay, so number 6, Waiting. Number 5, I maybe feel the worst about this one, Common Existence. I love that album. That's one of my favorite Thursday albums. Maybe one of my top 5, you might go so far as to say. Number 4, I feel weird about this one too. Full Collapse, I think, is number 4 on my list. And again, not a bad place to be because I love them all. But number 3 is City. I think City by the Light Divided, for those who don't do shortened versions of album titles. I think number 2 is this one. This is really jumped up on my list. Really in the past couple of years, but like specifically like kind of visiting it in this context, I think has kind of reframed it for me. Just like having to think so closely about it in a way that I hadn't really before. But then number 1 is War All the Time, which I would say undisputed champion, but I've considered not putting it at number 1 several times. But I do feel like it's the one that I have the most nostalgia for. We talked about this on the War All the Time episode at this point, but like that was the one that I was like kind of on board for first. And it still holds a really special place in my heart as a result. But again, like this order could change 5 minutes from now, but now I've set it into a microphone, so everybody can fight me about it if they want.
It's locked in
I
forever.
won't fight back. All right, what about you, Troy?
So I've got Waiting at number 6, same reasons as you. And then yeah, everything above is like all of these records are like 9 of 10 or 10 out of 10. But I have Common Existence at 5 also. I have No Devolution at 4, but this was a battle. Like, it could maybe go higher. It just depends on the day. I have Full Collapse at 3. This actually went up more as I thought about it. It's just hard to contend with how significant this album is. Like, I can't slight it too much. It's a really good record. Number 2, and this was the surprise to me as I was making this list. 2 is City by the Light Divided.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know things
shocked.
changed. Yeah. I did say when we were on that episode that it was my favorite Thursday record, but as I thought more about it, and over the last couple of days, I was like, I don't know, I think We're All the Time is the one that kind of wins out for me, in terms of its personal significance to me and what I think it achieves as an album, and in terms of consistency and songwriting and just everything I love about this band is embodied in that record.
Yeah. I kind of, to your point about Full Collapse, I kind of waffled between like, do I want to do like the thing where I'm trying to balance like my personal feelings, quote unquote quality, which is not a very objective thing, but you know what I mean. The thing that we often talk about, which is that maybe the list of best Thursday records is probably actually just chronologically reversed Thursday's discography, like from like a like just in terms of like the band's evolution perspective.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
But like, yeah, like balancing all those things, and then I just kind of gave up and went with my gut, which still felt bad. So
yep.
but yeah, I think the kind of concluding statement about behind these lists is killer band. Really glad that they're around still.
Yeah.
I've seen this band more times since they reunited than I think most bands that I've seen in general.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just keep going to the shows.
Same.
They're so much fun. Okay, I'm gonna open some merch.
Yeah.
I bought one of their mystery gift bag things. And it just got here today or yesterday. So I'm gonna open that real quick.
Yeah, I'm so excited. These while Troy starts opening the bag, I got one of these a while ago, and it's a really cool assortment of stuff. In my experience, at least. We'll see what you got though.
I didn't get the giant one that they posted about that had like one of literally like everything in it.
Ooh, I probably should have jumped on that one, but I probably would have looked at the price and screamed.
Oh no, I mean like it was one of the like the regular grab bags, and they were just like, oh, we just decided to put everything in this one.
Oh, gotcha.
All right. Some for the ASMR folks.
God. We're going to get so many weirdos listening to this podcast going forward.
Yeah.
I'm going to tag it with ASMR on Insta.
All right, so we've got the tote bag, which I think everybody who ordered one of these got, which is a pretty cool looking, roughly War All the Time era tote bag. Let's see. We've got the Paris in Flames review t-shirt, which is pretty cool.
Okay, that's pretty sick. I love that.
I'll send you pictures of this stuff to put on the.
Yeah, we'll bring a visual element to this podcast, I swear.
Yeah. And then let's see. Ooh, a little patch, a Dove patch.
Oh, nice.
This is going on something. And some promotional ephemera. A City by the Light Divided poster that appears to be from a Vans store.
Oh, interesting.
this is actually really cool. It's the stage plot for their 2004 for the War All the Time tour.
Oh, that rules.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's just got it's their stage plot. It's got here's where their amps are, where they're looks like they were using 3 guitar cabs on each side, guitar amps on each side. And it's got the drums, keys, the whole keys set up. This is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, mine was also like really cool. Had just a lot of ephemera. Did you get a pick too? Because that was maybe my favorite thing that came in mine.
I do not see a pick in here. But I did get, let's see, the application for release from the Dream insert, I guess, of just like the lyrics of the song.
Oh, the thing in the envelope? Or
well, no. So it's a different. It's like a little postcard, basically, that just has.
Oh,
the lyrics
yeah,
for the
okay.
song.
I know what you're talking about.
But I do also have the envelope with the actual application for the release from the Dream, I guess. Oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's the credits and the. This is cool. Okay, so it's the lyrics, kind of arranged into like an application form.
I think that's so neat that they did that.
Yeah, this is really cool. And then I got the political bumper sticker, the Thursday 2024. This year will be better than the last.
Beautiful. I love it. Just in time.
Very cool. Thank you, Thursday, for putting cool stuff in this, especially the stage plot. This is really neat.
That's so neat. I love that.
It's a perfect like thing for me, giant tech nerd.
Yeah, absolutely. That's tailor made for you. That like even more so than like a set list, I would say.
Although I mean, I would love a set list. Too,
a set list would be sick, obviously.
Yeah,
but
no, I agree. This is actually weirder than a set list. Cool. So yeah, we'll post pictures of that. All right. Next week, we're gonna do something where we in between kind of longer series about artists, we're gonna throw in an artist who has only made one record and just do a one-off episode on them. So
one
next
full length record to be
one
clear.
full length record. Yeah. EPs don't count, but we'll talk about EPs. So next week we're gonna do an episode on Boy Genius, their album The Record, as well as their the B-sides EP and their first EP. Great band. Lots to talk about with them.
Oh yeah,
we both like
and
a lot.
the aftermath of that band, which is
yeah.
I say aftermath. I whatever. It's fine. This isn't for this episode. I'm real excited about that one. I am I'm a day one Boy Genius fan. I can say that confidently.
Yeah. And then after that, we are going to talk about the career of Rilo Kiley, a wonderful kind of indie rock, pop-ish. I don't know. They're a great band. Yeah. So that's the plan for the next month or so of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mentioned this before we were recording anything, but it's been a while since I've listened to most of these Rilo Kiley albums, so I'm really excited to revisit.
Yeah, same. All right. Cool. I think that's it.
That is it. Thanks for checking this out, everybody. If you've been along for the ride for Thursday, specifically because of Thursday, stick around. We're gonna do a lot of stuff that you're gonna like, I think. And if you don't like Boy Genius, you suck. So that's all I have to say about that.
Way to be antagonistic to our listeners.
I'm sorry, you don't actually suck. But also just give them a try. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.